Luke and I were just discussing this. CM Punk's going to win the Chamber. He's going to main event WrestleMania. He's going to turn heel with The Rock. He's going to be the champion for the rest of the year. Break the 434 days, I think you said.
That's not what I said.
He's going to... But main event next year's WrestleMania against The Rock. Big epic story. We've got the exclusives. It's happening right here. I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Luke Owen, DAD, also your Jam That Champion. Welcome to the WWE Raw Review Podcast. If you haven't already, please press the thumbs up button, give us a subscribe, leave a comment down below with how many things you think CM Punk is going to win. And send in your chat gables to WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one over $5.
Yeah, that's not quite what I said.
Oh, it's not how I heard it.
Yeah, no, that's probably because you were the one who was saying all of those things, and now you just think that everyone agrees with your assessment of what's going to happen.
I thought we agreed that was a good idea.
I didn't say it was a bad idea. I'm just saying it's not what I think is going to happen.
But this was actually your idea, this topic.
Yes.
And it's the idea off the back of whatever that Friday segment with The Rock was on SmackDown.
I think you'll find the recap they did on this show it actually distilled everything that was awesome about that segment, but also highlighted why no one liked that segment, which was that segment was 26 minutes long, and they managed to get every single element of that story into a 90-second clip.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you strip out all the bits of Rock going like this. Goosebumps.
And The Rock being like, me, you, Cody, we're friends now. We're good friends. We made friends after last year's WrestleMania. We shared tequila together. We're friends.
Yeah, look at our mums.
Look at our mum. Our mums are friends because we're friends. If our mums are friends, that means you and I can play with each other on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And our mums can hang out at the same time.
We're baby faces, me and you. Shut up, person in the crowd! You STD-ridden freak from New Orleans, which is a crap city. By the way, I'm a baby face.
But also, you're getting WrestleMania next year. You're welcome, everyone.
Pyro. Yes, everyone, let's sing along when the Saints go much. No! No, this is a Rock solo. Okay, let's all sing it together. Well, that was nice that we all sang it together. You trash! It is so up and down. I have no idea where I stand with the guy.
So I made this point on the Saturday show that we did. I was joined by Mex from Gorilla Position and Rest Things and SP3, and we talked about this. And I really feel like the negativity around that segment is that it took 26 minutes to say what, as summed up on this show in one 90-second montage. Because I realized this because I text you in the morning to say, like, I'm going to do a podcast today. And I text Dan Layton as well. And both of you said, like, oh, I haven't seen SmackDown yet. What happened? And I said, The Rock's asked Cody to be his corporate champion. And both of you text me back to be like, that's awesome.
That's amazing.
That's such a good idea. And that's when it was like, this is a really cool story. This is a really cool angle.
Yeah.
They just did it in a cack segment that took 26 minutes to do.
The Rock basically went, I got this. And Triple A, no, sure, no, we can get Brian Gewitz on a video call. He can write out your bullet points. Rock's like, no. Now, Ava told me to just go out there and feel the crowd.
Because she knows.
Yeah, Ava, the sort of like the benchmark of charisma in front of a live audience.
Amazing, because Spyfall reported there was a writer for that segment, but they didn't write any of Rock's verbiage, which means they scripted 2 lines for Cody Rhodes to say.
Yeah, Cody spends the majority of that segment just like, oh, yes, we are friends.
And having his face caressed by The Rock as well. Because, like, we're friends. And more than in some cases.
God,
share a tequila with me.
I think Cody is a terrific performer. And particularly after the last 2 years, specifically, getting across to everyone that he's not enjoying working with The Rock while not doing enough of that for management to tell him off.
So, but the big talking point coming out of the show we did on Saturday. Oh, by the way, so we did a poll in the on the show of, did you like this segment? Yes or no? Or like, were you excited about the segment? 50-50.
Well,
like legit, it was 50 yes, 50 no.
It's the divisive times we live in.
Proper split opinion, like more split than we usually see on these things. Usually we see like a 60-40. But anyway, the thing that's come out talking about this is we all are pretty much in agreement Cody is going to say no at Elimination Chamber. Therefore, should this story continue, The Rock will want to pick a new corporate champion. And the two frontrunners for that are John Cena and CM Punk.
Going into this Saturday, for the last couple of weeks when he didn't win the Rumble, John Cena was the favourite for the Rumble. He didn't win. He came second. John Cena, by the book, is, by most people's opinions, he is the favourite to win the Chamber.
Oh, is he?
Yes. The other people in the Chamber are Logan Paul, not winning. Drew McIntyre, not winning. Seth Rollins, not winning. CM Punk, possibly winning.
Yep.
And...
well, let's see if you can get it.
Damian Priest.
Yeah. Do you think he's winning?
I don't think he's winning. So it's between Punk and Cena.
Really?
Although I do, on this show, I think, just like they did for the Rumble, Seth did just enough for me to make me go, well, maybe. But realistically, no. So it's between Cena and Punk. So if those are our two people, because they did the surprise thing at the Rumble with Jey Uso winning, those are our two potential winners here. Which one, I guess, do we believe could be, genuinely become The Rock's avatar in this? And which one do we want to? Are those the same people for you?
No. Kind of yes and kind of no. I sort of talked myself into this when we did the show on Saturday. So my big brain pitch is that Punk wins the Chamber with Cena coming second again. In the post-show for the Rumble, John Cena said, "This is my last WrestleMania. It is best for business for me to be in the main event of the last WrestleMania that I'm going to do, which is why I am inserting myself into the Elimination Chamber." So if Cena doesn't win here either, you could do a really good and interesting story of Cena politicking with The Rock to be inserted into the Punk and Cody match, turn it into a triple threat of John Cena once again and The Rock once again trying to steal a main event away from CM Punk. You can tie into all of that. You've got all the history with John Cena and The Rock, which does tie into Punk as well in all of that. And then you've got Cody, the guy who turned down The Rock. I think Punk's got some great material to work with and all that. I don't think that could be a fascinating story, particularly with Cena's promo that he had on the Netflix show. I've not won a match in 3 years. So him going into the main event of WrestleMania 41 for the WWE title without having won a match, I think is so awesome. And then, in my big fantasy booking, he doesn't win there either. And then he's like, oh, I've gone about this the wrong way. I sold my soul to win this 17th title, and I did it. This is not the way I want to win my 17th belt. Then you can do the redemption. Maybe that's why he said, I'm going to earn my way into Money in the Bank. And then he can win Money in the Bank and say, I'm going to cash this in on X date, and that's when he wins his title.
Yeah.
That's my big brain pitch.
I really like it up until the post-Mania bit. I feel like people won't boo him because it's Cena last year. I don't think even a heel inclination will work siding with The Rock. And I don't think the story afterward. I don't believe in the story afterwards. But all of that stuff between Rock, Cena, and Punk is so rich, like he said. I think the cleaner story is just to have Punk win. He becomes Rock's corporate chosen guy, which is, Punk Rock. It writes itself. It's all the stuff from 10, 15, 10,
13 years ago.
Years ago. And then it's Punk going up against Cody. That also ties into the Rumble promo. Going back to your one, actually, maybe Cena could reveal that Rock put him in the Chamber.
I don't like that one because The Rock's whole thing is he came to Cody after that had happened. I think that muddies the story ever so slightly.
Oh yeah, but The Rock's a big brain guy too. He's planning up Plan Bs and Cs and Booker Ts and So let's say what happened on this show. The opening segment was Logan Paul coming out. He's in front of his home state of Ohio. He gets some hometown heat. He's being a heel. Thank God. I remember the days when they tried to book him as a babyface and he would get booed in his own hometown.
He's thoroughly unlikable.
And then CM Punk's music hits. These are two guys in the men's chamber. These are two of the guys who could potentially be The Rock's backup corporate champion. And they just have a pretty basic back and forth.
I'd say a disappointing back and forth.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's just Punk saying, look, you're jealous of... No, Logan said Punk is jealous of him because Logan succeeds at everything. Punk is just a series of him failing upwards. I'm like, okay, there's some meat there. The MMA career, AEW, like, you gonna dive into that? No, it was just kept at that level. And then Punk says Logan has no substance. He's just a dumb kid trying to get attention with ignorant shocks. Yeah, that is what. Are you gonna dive into all the many? Are you gonna criticize Prime or or Snackables, whatever they're called, or that trip to Japan? You know, that boys' trip to Japan.
Look, I'm not saying that Logan Paul is the softest man alive, but I just feel like he doesn't like those things being brought up. I was like, hey, aren't you involved in a crypto scam?
Didn't you do that? Didn't you cause adpocalypse?
Aren't you not allowed in Japan and have just been banned in Egypt as well?
Yeah, so for two very controversial, highly charged figures, one of which has built his entire brand about saying the unsayable. Yeah, when they didn't pry any deeper on things, it was disappointing. I thought the whole point of Logan eliminating Punk from the Rumble was to build to the big shoot in the ring, gloves off, say anything.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in that than a match between Logan and Punk.
So The Rock was saying in that post-show press conference where it's like, hey, look, this is not going to build to me versus Cody in a match because this is a storyline that's bigger than that. I actually would much rather, on that note, watch CM Punk versus Logan Paul in an open mic night match.
Yes, yeah. The only way this will be okay, and okay's doing a lot of stretching there, is if the WrestleMania direction is Logan versus Punk, and they have that segment on the road to WrestleMania.
I think given that we had a backstage segment with Logan and AJ, and he eliminated AJ from the Rumble. It was during one of the Netflix ad breaks.
I didn't skip any of the ad breaks.
Did you not?
Oh, I totally missed that.
Yeah, I think we're getting Logan and AJ at WrestleMania.
But it just ended where Punk said he'll eliminate Logan in the chamber as a receipt for the Rumble. Logan slapped him and then did a little runaway.
He did reference Cody selling his soul. He said that I don't care if Cody has to sell his soul in order for me to beat him at WrestleMania.
Yeah. The importance of Logan running away there was, well, on Saturday, he won't be able to because it's a chamber.
Yeah.
Could run around the ring, though.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bit of fun.
He's pretty quick. He's probably quicker than CM Punk is.
Yeah.
I think if they had a race, it wouldn't be Flash versus Superman, is what I'm saying.
So, yeah, disappointing.
Yeah, I would say so.
It effectively built the chamber.
What I would say is disappointing, but fine.
Yes.
It wasn't a bad segment.
There was nothing wrong with it.
It's not disappointing in the sense of oh man, what a disappointing segment. That was bad. It was just no, it was a quite serviceable pro wrestling promo segment.
That you just feel a lot was left on the table for.
Yeah.
Which, kind of is potentially a meta thing to levy at Triple H's TV booking as a whole. Later on, before the main event, we got Cody Rhodes coming out, and he's talking about The Rock's proposal to own his soul in perpetuity. And Cody says, the decision I've got to make doesn't just affect me, it affects my family, my training school, the memory of my father, who had to fight on the indie scene in his 60s when he was trying to make ends meet. And then Seth Rollins interrupts, and he said, we've not been in the same ring together for a year.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Apparently it's true. Oh, I suppose Cody went to SmackDown, didn't he?
Yeah. That is amazing.
Yeah.
That they've been able to keep those two apart since WrestleMania 40.
That's like the Offspring say, you got to keep them separated.
And then Seth says, I need to ask you, what the hell are you thinking? I sacrificed myself for you to beat The Rock, and now you're talking about becoming his corporate champion.
Yeah, this great line where he said, you not slapping The Rock was a slap in the face to me.
And then Cody, I thought, fired back just as well.
Sounds like you're being pretty judgmental, Seth. I thought that was a really good line. Cody was like, all right. It sounds like you're being a judgmental prick right now.
Yeah, because Cody hadn't given an answer.
No.
And I'm pretty sure, well, I think we all agree he's going to say no.
Yeah.
But Seth comes out here, you're wrong. You're a bad guy. I'm taking this personally already preemptively.
Yeah.
And Cody points out, you're a bit of a prick, mate, because you turned on the Shield. You were part of the authority that drove me and many others like me out of the WWE. And you shook my hand when I went off to have surgery for 7 months. I came back and you attacked me.
Yeah.
It's a pretty compelling argument.
I mean, he had a great line from Cody was, well, maybe The Rock didn't approach you because you've already sold your soul. Like, there's actually no more soul for you to sell. I still have all of mine.
Yeah, it was a really good back and forth. And Seth had he had 2 killer lines, I think, to close the segment. Seth said, "Don't make me hate you like I hate Punk for doing this."
Also does line up Punk to be the guy.
But it's that. And it's not Seth's fault.
Yeah.
Cody, don't make me hate you. It's very Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
And then Seth said, "I'm not coming for your soul. I'm coming for that title." I just thought this was a really good, great bit of character work again.
And it's, this is more on me than it is anything else. But when Seth Rollins came out, I've written in my notes here, I was quite enjoying that. And I was actually disappointed that he came out.
Yeah.
But I thought he really sold me on this. And I thought they did a great segment together. And I loved some of Seth's dialogue in here. I thought was so awesome. The fact that he ended it with the reversal of what The Rock did on SmackDown, which is that I'm coming. I don't want your soul. I'm not interested in that. I just want to win that title. That was so killer. The question I have for you is, if this is going to be Punk doing it, can I give you my Punk pitch?
Go on then.
So this is my Punk turning heel and becoming the corporate champion for The Rock. Is you do Raw 1000 again. Which is that Punk is say The Rock gets in the ring and he rock bottoms John Cena and he's like, do it. Pin him. And and then Punk has that conflicted moment the same way he had at WrestleMania Raw 1000. Do I sell myself in order to get this win? Or do I do this the honorable way?
Well, sorry, Rock does that to Cena?
Yes.
In the chamber. Comes down to Punk Cena as the final 2.
Because if you haven't
Rock comes down with the entourage, they open it all up.
If you haven't seen Raw 1000, the reason I know is because we've literally just reviewed it, patreon.com/WrestleTalk, is the main event of that show is Punk versus Cena for the WWE title, and Big Show comes down and he attacks John Cena after John Cena's already won the match. But so we've got to give John Cena the rub. And he beats up, and Punk doesn't stop him, and he's just looking at it being like, well, this is a way for me to win the match, but it's not the way I want to win the match. And then he eventually just like, no, I'm doing it. And he rolls Cena back into the ring and he goes to pin him and Cena kicks out. And then he's like, oh no.
Yeah,
and
I did a bad.
And then Cena locks in the STF. And then Big Show causes the DQ. And then Punk just watches as Show does this because he's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. And then The Rock steals his thunder. So he jumps in and he attacks The Rock. And that's the official heel turn. You can do a mirror of that, but it's actually The Rock that's facilitating it this time.
Well, I love the final sequence of that, which is The Rock. He's about to do the people's elbow on the Big Show.
Yes, it's the Big Show, yeah.
And he runs the ropes, runs back, and Punk zooms in and decapitates him with a lariat. I think you could do Cena gets the better of Rock.
Yes, the 5-knuckle shuffle, yeah.
Cena's going to do the 5-knuckle shuffle off the ropes. Punk, yes. I mean that is really that's a really nice visual callback you booked there. Shall we see what everyone thinks on the chat gables, because we've had quite a few. Specifically on CM Punk and The Rock, the fantasy book in there. Anonymous writes, "Hey lads, thoughts on Logan as The Rock's champ?" But maybe that's the right reaction.
I think your company.
Think of all the business synergy.
Your company's too hot right now to do that.
Could get hotter.
No,
Logan Paul, The Rock, no. Netflix.
If anything, I feel like we are heading towards the honeymoon period being over. I don't think you want to drive that bus any quicker than it currently is going.
Anonymous continues. Also, thoughts on CM Punk winning Money in the Bank and cashing in on Cena on his final night, preventing his record title win, blowing him a kiss as he walks off with the title. Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else would. King Burbs. Hey guys, let's say it is Punk. Isn't it counterintuitive of his character to be against the system and whatnot, but now choosing to be a corporate stooge? If Cena wins, it makes more sense because he's always been a company champ. But what does Punk do?
Yeah, but I kind of dig that as the character. This is like, you want to... it reminds me a lot of the end of Punk in Ring of Honor when he said, I've signed with WWE. I actually don't need Ring of Honor anymore. I know I'm the champion, but sorry, guys. And then he keeps winning, and then he retains the title, and he's just coming out in the suit and everything. He signed his WWE contract on the Ring of Honor title. You could have that CM Punk in a WWE ring.
What's more heelish? The company guy continues to be a company guy, or the punk rock anti-company guy sells his soul? That is more of a soul-selling thing and goes against his fan base.
I actually love it.
It's really good. Dan says, theory, Cena pins...
Was that all? And we had more from King Burbs there. So really imagine some suit-wearing egotistical Cena where he believes he is in the right, doing what's best for business, giving himself opportunities, and we get Rock and Cena, two Hollywood stars taking over WWE. Cena's champ makes 17 memorable and different. Essentially, so pitching that as what we said on the Saturday show, the two-man Hollywood power trip.
Sorry, King Burbs, that didn't appear for me. Dan says, theory, Cena pins Punk to win the chamber. Punk somehow gets into the title match thanks to a favor. This is presumably the one he has with Paul Heyman. Mania 3-way sees Rock come down. Who does he side with? He helps Punk win. Favor was The Rock, not Heyman. Screw Cena and Cody, and Chase is on.
Here's my thing with Cena. I want, and maybe I'm asking too much of John Cena, and I appreciate that. I am asking too much of a John Cena storyline, and that is on me. Yeah. His whole deal is I've not won a match in 3 years. Maybe that should be part of your character, that you keep losing.
Who's John? Do you remember John Cena? Do you remember what his whole thing was?
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is more on me than it is. But he set this up that it's like, hey, I haven't won a match in doodle-a-doo days. So, like, tell that story then.
Can someone take that doodle-a-doo days and put that at the start of Cena's entrance music?
Doodle-a-doo days!
Da, 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 da. Akihito Sanada writes, I saw an interesting theory that Punk wins the chamber and The Rock tries to take his main event. His favor is then to have Reigns take on The Rock to ride him out. That's a nice little matchup of things. Personally, I'd rather a Punk-Rock alliance, but thought this was interesting. I don't think The Rock is wrestling at WrestleMania.
No, I don't either.
But I do like that plot.
Dude's got a Martin Scorsese film. Like, he is not putting anything at risk to take him out of a Martin Scorsese film.
Homer Star. Punk being a corporate champion would be really cool. Think about it. The man who was all about fighting the company then becomes the company guy, being a massive hypocrite and going against everything he fought against. Exactly.
Yeah, I love it.
Anonymous. Hi guys, do you think Punk could win the chamber and also deny The Rock's offer? Desperate to win his 17th championship, Cena accepts Rock's offer and is added to the match, making it a triple threat. This way, he can lose the chamber and still main event. I think that's great. I've not heard that idea before. That's a great idea.
Yeah, man. I like it.
Luke has pushed this already.
CM Lunk.
Still bald, finally for now, writes, I think Punk or Cena join Rock. If Cena wins, he goes corporate, finally turns heel. If Punk does it, I don't think he joins Rock per se, but rather uses Heyman to get to Rock to get to the main event. Rock wants a corporate champ, but gets a Maverick.
I think if I'm having Punk do this corporate thing, I want to go full wearing the suit look, not a Maverick who's like, hey, I'm a bit of a... Because you can't be this rebel when he is like in his 40s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got to play the age that you are.
And when Punk came back, he said he's not here to make friends. He's here for business.
Yeah, I like it.
Please keep getting in your chat gables into WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one over $5 before the end of the show. Before we get into the rest of the play-by-play, you might have heard us drop a few references to a little series we are doing. Thank you, Rock. Again, you do this every year. You somehow do something that makes something we've made recently incredibly relevant.
It's weird, isn't it?
The Rock did it last year where we released the Bloodline video, and then that was 2 days before that he did his family tree presentation.
Yeah, but also in that period of time, they started doing a lot more Shield references because that's when Seth joins into it and becomes the tag match, and we were doing the breakup of the Shield as our Patreon series.
Our current series over on Patreon, which is also live on YouTube, is The Rock versus Cena. The once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime Eric Rowan at WrestleMania 32 sequence. And right now we are in the part when CM Punk gets added. So we've just done Raw 1000. That's over on patreon.com/WrestleTalk. And next month we'll be doing Royal Rumble 2013, where it is The Rock versus CM Punk.
If you've got a drive coming up and you've got a long distance that you need to travel, if you back us at patreon.com/WrestleTalk, you will have 7 hours worth of pay-per-view reviews, and actually the back catalog featuring everything else as well that you'll get access to. But it means that you, like, for our current ones, you'll have our review of WrestleMania 28 and the Raw 1000 that follows a couple of months later, available to listen to and watch right now. 7 hours worth of content.
So go watch our Mania 28 review that went up on the WrestleTalk channel a couple of days ago to see if you like it. And if you like it, hey, come support us at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Okay, this...
I found a bit of a learning, actually, through the comments that was left on Raw 1000. Do you remember you and I were questioning why the Andre the Giant render was really weird? Because they have this thing on Raw 1000 where we're like, hey, imagine these dream match scenarios, and it's Punk and Savage, and it's Cena and Austin, and I can't remember what the other one was. But it's Mick Foley and someone else, I think.
Yeah.
But the other one they had is Andre the Giant versus the Big Show. And everyone has got this really stylized render from the game, but Andre doesn't. We were like, why does Andre's one look really weird? Turns out Andre's not in that game. That's why he doesn't have a render from the game. So what they had there was a community creation of Andre the Giant that they just put into that picture.
I think at that point, just use a photo of the guy.
Well, that's it.
Right, so this episode of Raw was from Cincinnati, Ohio. It opened with Gunther arriving with a little cup of coffee, and he walked past the Alpha Academy TikToking and doing the dances.
I did have a bit of a worry of like, this is going to put Gunther right in the mid-card, isn't it?
I thought the exact same thing. I was like, why do you put that there? I get that you want to make it a big, wacky universe. Totally paid off later in a very good way. Then we got the Logan Paul segment that we've covered. Then we had our first match, which was Penta taking on Pete Dunne and Ludwig Kaiser.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the action early doors took place in the ad break, and then they came back, and then they just did all the big three-way sequences. And Penta was awesome. I thought that Kaiser was really great in this match as well. Particularly, they did the spot with the Canadian Destroyer off the back of Kaiser onto Dunne. And then Penta seemingly had the match won. He had the sacrifice on Dunne, but Kaiser came back in, threw Penta out the ring, and hit his wacky little DDT on Dunne for the win.
Yeah, so good match. Really enjoyed the match. I mean, look at these three guys are brilliant. But Penta wasn't pinned, but he did lose a match.
You can still say he's undefeated.
Can you, though? You can say he wasn't pinned.
I mean, they will.
They will. I just thought what we had here, I was quite into not just Penta being awesome in WWE, but Penta wins all his matches. And that was a good run of about 6 weeks we had there. Longer. Like, it's almost 2 months. 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And now we have a three-way here, and it just felt like I wouldn't have beaten Penta. That's the wrong word. I wouldn't have had Penta lose a match.
Yeah, I get what you mean. And I agree. And I think it's just Penta just sort of feels like he is at this point just sort of spinning his wheels until like he gets his first story. I guess this sort of is a story.
But it's like the prologue story. It's not a title chase. It's not a big blood feud.
I don't even think it's just that. It's that I've already seen him beat these lads. Like he's already beaten Kaiser in a match. He's beaten Dunne in a match twice. So I kind of I've seen this.
The way I would have done this is just have Penta every week beat another guy of the level of Pete Dunne or Chad Gable, that sort of under mid card. And after the third match, Kaiser just sits out there and he's watching, scouting him. And then he starts to get into his head. But Penta still keeps winning. And then Elimination Chamber, just do a very short match and have Penta beat him as well. That's how you get the sort of substantial feud.
Yeah.
Kaiser would only lose once in that. I think he's already lost once in this run already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
disappointing.
I don't think it's disappointing. I don't think it is. It's not captivating, but the action is good. Like the wrestling is very good.
Maybe I'm more down on it because I don't know where Penta is in 3 months.
Yeah. I totally get that.
If Penta was still on that undefeated streak, I've been hanging on to because it's like they see something in this guy, and now just to see that put to one side, I'm like, oh, I mean, let's just look at the track record of luchadors in WWE recently. Oh yeah, they all end up in the same faction.
Yeah. Someone's pointing out here, it's the Christian Cage run in TNA, which he was undefeated, even though he lost the title twice.
Yeah, which was a heel gimmick because no one bought that undefeated streak. Then we've got Rhea Ripley in the stand. She's with Jackie Redmond. She's talking up her EO Sky title defense next Monday, where she revealed they hadn't fought for 5 years.
Yeah.
I looked it up, their last match was November 2020.
Wow.
EO won both of the matches they've had, the singles matches. And she's like, I've grown a lot since then, and I'll beat EO next week.
Yeah.
And then EO was right there. They zoomed out a bit, and he goes right there.
Yeah, it was a weird reveal.
I'm impressed they've kept these two apart for so long.
The thing that made me laugh is that when Rhea said, like, I'm so much different now than when I was back then. She's like, I've beaten legends like Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Liv Morgan. I was like, one of these things is not like the other.
Yeah, Charlotte Flair. I'm excited for that match next week, though.
Really
looking forward to it. We had an LFG advert with special guest Road Dogg.
Yeah.
We're on the Road Dogg rehabilitation train.
Yeah, not the best episode of SmackDown for him to be, the first, for his first one as the co-head writer of. And it is, pretty much categorically agreed upon the worst SmackDown of the Triple H era.
No, but I heard that interview from someone who said it wasn't Road Dogg's fault in 2017. It was the guy who was ruining his ideas.
Yeah. But, maybe it was just... Maybe this guy's The Rock came in and had to change his ideas up.
That very well could be.
I don't think it really affected all the rest of the stuff that was garbage on the show.
Then we got the New Day versus LWO. New Day had, of course, been chased off by the LWO last week with all the Rey Mysterio feuding. And the New Day weren't really that over, unfortunately. Not a lot of heat here. LWO are definitely not an act that the crowd really get invested in. Yeah. Unless Rey Mysterio's there. So this was just a pretty basic match with not much heat, with two acts that aren't really booked credibly.
No. Standard is how I would describe it.
It's just so unfortunate, we say it every week, that the New Day were one of the hottest acts in wrestling when they turned heel in December, and this is where we're at now. This is an open goal miss.
I feel like they must be doing something big at WrestleMania. And my big brain pitch is, and I did this on the 3 count as well, because Dragon Lee came out for the save after this, and they beat up Dragon Lee as well. So they're taking out all of the LWO members. So Rey Mysterio now needs to find a tag partner for WrestleMania to take on the New Day, and he picks Big E. And Big E is the tag partner, so it's Rey and Big E versus the New Day at Mania. But because we had to do the heel turn in November, because that's when the celebration was, it meant that we had to just tread water until we can do the reveal. This is the only way I can sort of rationalize this. In the same way that, last year, 2 years ago, we did the Jimmy returns and he turns heel on Jay. But we want to do the match at WrestleMania, so let's just put them apart and then we'll just tread water until WrestleMania.
And it was a great payoff. We all agree. If you're doing that version, I would have booked New Day much stronger.
Oh, yeah.
That's the main problem. They've been beaten and not got TV time. Dragon Lee made the save, but New Day beat him down as well. So, one positive, they stood tall at the end of a segment. Judgment Day, they're in the clubhouse, and Finn Balor's grumpy again.
Yeah.
And Dom's like, I want a new member. And Balor's like, shut up, you crap. You lost to AJ last week. You got speared by Bron. You embarrassed us all. And Dom's like, you lost to Rollins?
Yeah. Well, what he said was that it was the worst night. It was the most embarrassing night in the history of this group. And it all started when you lost to AJ Styles. And Dom's like, yeah, but you also lost in the main event.
I feel for Dom here.
Yeah.
Liv and Raquel walk in and they say, stop arguing. We all need to concentrate on our tag title shot tonight.
This could have been a Judgment Day segment from any episode of Raw, and I would have believed you.
But then, oh my, next up,
Pac-Man Jones.
Pac-Man Jones is in the crowd. Yes, Pac-Man Jones of TNA Tag Team Championship fame.
It's the thing he's most famous for. It's what everyone knows Pac-Man Jones at. If you ask any football fan, name me a fact about Pac-Man Jones, they'll be like, he's a former TNA Tag Team Champion with Ron the Truth Killings, who's under contract with WWE.
And they're talking about TNA more openly now. Why can we not get an R-Truth Pac-Man Jones segment here? Why can't, look, just for 1 week, have them beat the War Raiders?
Without Pac-Man Jones tagging in.
He's on the... Yeah, it's just R-Truth.
Because I want to do it properly.
Yeah. We don't want Pac-Man Jones to breach any of the restraining orders he has from his NFL team.
I know we're in a new era of celebrity wrestling where they do moves and stuff. But no, if we're going to do this, do it right. Have him stand on the apron and do nothing and be uncharismatic as he does it.
Yeah. If you... Did we cover this in our TNA Joe Kurt Angle series?
Yes, we did, yeah, because Pac-Man Jones came in, I think, on the pay-per-view, the penultimate pay-per-view.
Well, there you go. There is another plug. We just can't stop them, people, for our patreon.com/WrestleTalk, where you can watch our Samoa Joe versus Kurt Angle series in TNA.
And also in the archives, we've got the episode, we've reviewed the pay-per-view where Pac-Man Jones wins the tag titles as well. So there's plenty to dive into there.
Yeah, we've got way too much information for you and reviews of this 10-second cameo on Raw. Now, I must admit, I wasn't loving the show up until this point. Pac-Man Jones turned it around for me. But up until this point, we've had the Penta, he technically gets beaten. The Punk Logan thing to me was underwhelming. The New Day, again, they win, but they look rubbish. But then Gunther comes out and he's dressed for a match. He's got his little pants on. And he says that I'm going to be wrestling tonight. I've asked Adam Pearce. I want a warm-up match for Jey Uso at WrestleMania.
Okay. I totally understand that all the Rock stuff is very exciting. I totally understand, as we head into the Elimination Chamber, that is the main thing that we should be talking about. And yes, it was some of the most captivating stuff. This was my favorite thing on the show by like a long country mile. I freaking loved this segment.
This was great. I love the main event as well. I think they're neck and neck for me.
I did. I enjoyed this so much more.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was Akira Tozawa. Akira Tozawa came down, a former cruiserweight champion, versus the world heavyweight champion, just to get over the weight difference. And Gunther says, I picked Tozawa because when I walked into the building this morning, you were dancing like a goofball. You're making the wrong choices, just like Jay. I was like, the opening of the show is good now.
This is why I loved this. It accomplished so many different things. And we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, I don't know how you're going to get 8 weeks worth of booking out of this Jay and Gunther thing. And then you do the segment here and like, oh, you've still got quite a lot of miles that you can drive it on this. And I'm really enjoying this. Because it's not just that Akira Tozawa is an idiot that dances with other idiots. He made the point of just like, you and I came up on the indies, around the same time. I know how good you are, and you've made the choice to be more like Jey Uso than being good like me. And he made this point, it's like, I want you to, you could do something that the Jey could never do. You could earn my respect tonight. Because I don't know how many people know this, boys and girls watching. There was a time when Akira Tozawa was considered one of the best wrestlers on the planet. There was a period of time, and we actually, again, patreon.com/wrestle. Oh no, we covered this in the free one. That WrestleMania weekend of WrestleMania 28, he has one of the best matches of that whole weekend. That weekend that has Taker and Triple H and has got Davey and Michael Elgin. Akira Tozawa had one of the best matches that weekend because he was considered one of the standouts of the indie scene in Dragon Gate USA and PWG. So Gunther is standing there being like, you're just like, you've become Jey Uso when you could have been me. And it's so good. And then they had an awesome squash match.
This is like the best squash match you can have.
Oh, it was great.
I don't know how long it went, 3-4 minutes, but the crowd are so into it because Gunther is an excellent bully.
Yeah.
And he bullied Akira Tozawa by saying all this, earn my respect. And Tozawa is a great fiery babyface. And he just goes straight for Gunther with like a brief flurry, but then Gunther, big boot, brutal chop, shotgun drop kick. But then Akira has like these little comeback moments where he chops Gunther back or he hits a drop kick or something like that. And the crowd are getting really, really into it. Ultimately, Boston Crab's locked in by Gunther. Tozawa is really near the ropes. Otis is there like begging Tozawa to get to the ropes, but powerbomb, and Gunther doesn't take the pin. Instead, he chokes him out hangman style. Not Adam Page, but a literal hangman with his boots off the floor.
Yeah. Oh, man. They built all of this around Tozawa kept constantly reversing the powerbomb. So, like, he goes to hit the powerbomb, like, immediately. Tozawa gets out of that and gets this near fall. Goes for it another time after this little flurry, and he shuts him down with the dinosaur drop kick. And he has that into the roll-up for an awesome 2 count. Yeah. Finally, he hits on that third attempt, but he doesn't pin him off the back of it, even though he had the match won. He was trying to hit that move to win the match, and he just did. It was like, no, I'm just going to do something else. And he chokes him out. I thought this was perfect. Gunther is awesome at this sort of thing. My favorite thing about Gunther, and one of the reasons why I think he is so great at being Gunther, and like this is the perfect presentation of Gunther, is he is not afraid to sell for people that are smaller than him. He knows just how much vulnerability to show as a giant to make it believable that the other person can beat him. That's why he's perfect at being the big guy.
But he also never felt in doubt that he was going to win.
That's
so,
it.
like, Akira feels more over. He feels more over. It's excellent. Otis tried to stand up to him afterwards, but Gunther choked him out too. Jay ran down for the save, and Gunther smugly walked out. I will say, just in all this, Gunther did reference Pat McAfee. He said, "What is it that you keep saying, Pat?" And Pat's like, "Anything can happen at WrestleMania."
Yeah.
So last week I spoke about maybe Gunther has an angle with Pat McAfee or Michael Cole. Maybe they're keeping that spinning.
Still could do, yeah. I mean, and I hope that they do, because I think that should be the payoff to this. If I can add a negative onto this, if I may, if I may, just one slight criticism I would put against this is that it does really solidify this as a mid-card feud.
That's the only problem.
Because it's not just Gunther is doing an angle with Alpha Academy and Jey Uso and he backs away from Otis of Alpha Academy. Later on, Jay does an angle with A-Town Down Under. And it's like, so that'll probably lead to a match between Jey Uso and Grayson Waller. It just puts them much lower than all of the main event guys who are in the Elimination Chamber going for Cody's title. That just feels like so much more of a bigger deal than this does. It's really solidified as mid-card now.
Yeah. Really great stuff for the Intercontinental title. We got a clip of Michael Cole on Logan's Implosive podcast. Pat McAfee had actually quite a nice bromance thing with Michael Cole here, making fun of him. We got Lyra Valkyria.
Yeah, I was going to say, then you made fun of him.
Yeah, but in a fun way.
They had a nice moment, and then Pat McAfee was just like, yeah, but you're fat. You're fat and an idiot.
But Cole's buttons were popping on his show. I thought that was funny. Lyra Valkyria then took on Dakota Kai, defending her IC title. This is the third time they were meeting. And again, just like last week, They put in a lot of effort. They rushed through the entire match. I felt, again, like they had 10 minutes of stuff planned, but only 7 minutes to do it in. And not much heat at all. Lyra won kind of out of nowhere, quite abruptly, with a broken wing.
A Nightwing.
A Nightwing, sorry. Broken wing. Sounds better.
Yeah, match was fine. It was what it was. And then Ivy Nile attacked Dakota Kai on the entrance and then ran down and attacked Lyra Valkyria to set up an Intercontinental Championship match, I guess, even though she lost her contenders match last week.
Why have her lose? If this was the bigger direction, why beat Ivy Nile last week?
Swerve. And also, this belt doesn't matter, so it doesn't really, don't have to try.
Video package for Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, including that that very sinister Owens bit from SmackDown, which was so good. And it goes to a sit-down interview with Jackie and Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
And Sami talked about how he went to visit KO's mum's house. He didn't know what he was going to do, but he just ended up having a nice conversation with her. But the fact that he did it, he doesn't recognize himself anymore. But also, that could be bad for Kevin Owens because he doesn't know these new depths he'll go.
This was awesome. This was great.
Really, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And it has actually become my favorite feud in the company in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. I would say mine too. No, 100% is mine too. I was trying to think whether or not the Rock stuff has overtaken it because I'm so excited about the madness of it all. But you're right. Like, this is, pound for pound, the best thing in WWE right now.
Bron Breakker then took on Dominik Mysterio after Dom got involved in his match last week. Dom tried to pose early with the bicep flexing, and Bron just shoved him in the corner and tossed him over the top rope. This was utter dominance.
Yeah.
All those things you said about Gunther making Tozawa look good, not the case here. Breakker destroyed Dominik.
Yep.
He destroyed Carlito. The match ended in DQ when JD Judgment Day, that is, not McDonough, pulled Breakker out off of a pin. And Finn Balor had a moment where they had a stare down together and Balor slinked away.
Yeah, it feels like we're heading for a multi-man at Mania.
Yeah, what, a Bron versus AJ versus Finn?
Well, maybe not if I'm doing AJ versus Logan. Maybe it's just Bron versus Finn. I don't know. Like, Sheamus did put a call out being like, hey, do you remember that I wrestle as well?
Brian Alvarez had a pitch. AJ's the new leader of Judgment Day.
Oh, that's all. I much prefer the idea that if you're going to do the splintering off of the faction and you do AJ and Finn together.
Yeah. Then we got Kathy talking to Ivy Nile backstage.
Can I read her interview question?
Oh, yes.
She said, and I quote, Ivy, you just viciously attacked Lyra Valkyria after her successful title defense. Does this mean you're trying to angle yourself back into the Intercontinental Championship picture? I don't know, Kathy. What do you think?
Bit of a loaded question, Kathy.
You posed with the belt. I posed. What do you think I was doing? What a dumb question, Kathy Kelly.
Yeah, but she's got glasses now. Just like Kathy being on screen. And the Creeds had a little brawl with the War Raiders. They're going to have a tag title match next week.
Why?
Well, because we've been through this, Luke.
Because they lost their last one, of course.
They showed dominance.
No, they didn't.
They showed dominance in the last match.
Got themselves DQ'd because they were about to lose, and ergo, they get another title shot.
You need to learn about wrestling, my friend. Then we got the Cody Rhodes segment. Yep. Then we got Jey Uso checking on Akira Tozawa in the training room. This is when Grayson Waller and Austin Theory confront him outside of that. And Waller's like, all the smart people know Gunther's going to win. You're not going to win. And Theory did the eat, along with Jay, the comedy. And then Jay super kicked Waller. And I guess Grayson Waller and Austin Theory still aren't broken up.
No. And they're on Raw now. So, it's fun for us. But yeah, like that's what I mean. It makes it feel a bit mid-card. Jay can beat Grayson Waller. Cool.
Great US title story. Love it. And the main event was Bianca and Naomi taking on Liv and Raquel for the tag team championships. And Bianca and Naomi just went right for them before the bell because they are full of vengeance because they believe Liv and Raquel took out Jade Cargill. Actually, from the Judgment Day segment earlier, Finn said, well, aren't you worried about them because of what you did to Cargill? And Liv went, no, we didn't do anything.
Yeah, well, she said, and if we did that...
Oh, I thought they said, no, we didn't do that.
Well, I think what I quite like about this is that they have never just said it wasn't us. They're just allowing them to believe that and have essentially used that against them to get this tag title match. It's probably like the best thing that the Judgment Day have done. It's the smartest thing Judgment Day have done probably since forming together.
This was a brilliantly heated match.
This is awesome.
It started off very hot because of the anger from Bianca and Naomi anyway. But then the crowd was super into it, had that main event presentation, the titles were on the line, and there were so many false finishes.
Incredible.
And I didn't buy into the first 3 of them, but I bought into the last 4.
Yeah.
I thought the match finished 4 times. So first we have Raquel kicking out of a Bianca 450. That was big. But then Liv hit a super code breaker on Belair. That was a really good near fall. But then we get Dom running down to distract the referee. Liv hits an Oblivion on Naomi at that point. I thought it was over. Belair breaks up the pin. And now the crowd are just chanting, this is awesome. A Bianca KOD on Liv? I'm like, okay, they're retaining. Raquel broke it up. I thought that was the finish as well. But one of the other parts is, this episode of Raw was like 2 hours, 36 minutes.
It's the flexi time, man.
And everything else has finished 2 hours 30.
Yeah.
So I've got one eye on the duration. I'm like, well, it's ending now, or so then Belair goes to take out Dom on the outside. Oh, sorry, Naomi took out Raquel, KOD on Liv again, but Dom put her foot on the ropes. Belair goes to take out Dom outside, but Raquel takes her out instead. Naomi, there's some more stuff, but Raquel whacks Naomi's head on the ring post. Liv rolls up Naomi to win.
So yeah, it was the story of this is Raquel won it for their team.
Yes.
Liv actually contributed very little, and it was all Raquel. It was Raquel making the save and trying to work her way back into the match to make the save again. She won it for the team by hitting Naomi, and Liv just crawled into the pin to pin Naomi. So that's the story, and that's the story they've been telling with Liv and Raquel for a little while now, is that Raquel is the powerhouse and Liv's rubbish. That's the story of their dynamic, and that dynamic works. Where I am going to put my huge unfortunate, because I loved this match, do not get me wrong, I thought this match was awesome, a properly great main event that the crowd was super duper into, and this was a hot crowd for this match. The Dom stuff took a star off for me. I don't do match ratings because people are weird about it, but I thought there was too much Dom interference in this. Once is maybe, but there were 3 or 4 Dominik interference spots, one of which was when he put Liv's foot on the ropes, and the referee was looking right at him when he did it. Yeah. And Liv was basically in the ropes anyway, so it's not like Dom had to do much to get a foot on the ropes. But yeah, the referee literally watched him do it, and then was like, 2, oh man, can't count that one because the foot's on the ropes. There was just a little too much of it for my taste.
I really didn't mind. If anything, I thought the Dom stuff was really well timed. But on that specific one, yeah, referee, that was a botch.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, the referee was out of position.
I mean, it looked like he was trying to get himself into a position where he couldn't see it, but unfortunately had landed in a place where he just was going to see it. I think the thing with Dom, for me, is I think if you just go back, and it was only someone pointed this out to me today, is that he has probably been involved in the finish of every women's title match since Rhea Ripley won the belt. So it's just for the last 2 years he's just been getting involved in finishes in women's title matches, and I'm kind of done with it now. So considering you've got such a good story and a good dynamic with Raquel and Liv, of Raquel being the one winning for the team and Liv being rubbish, just run with that. Just do the 4 of them to finish off the match.
Good dynamic?
Well, it's a dynamic.
It's a dynamic.
It's a dynamic, and it's a dynamic I'm more into than Dominik just interfering on behalf of Liv Morgan, because I am quite done with seeing that for a little while.
I really like how we're going into the chamber now. I am quite interested in this. Naomi and Belair are qualified for the chamber. They'll be in there, but only Liv is. There's no Raquel. Mm-hmm. And Raquel and Dom, they saved her here. They got her the win. So, yeah, I'm excited for what happens there. Also, Finn's not going to be happy. Finn wasn't down there. In fact, when Finn was down there for the Breaker match earlier, it was rubbish for Judgment Day.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of mileage on
Judgment Day split? More Judgment Day drama. Hey!
Is it really
speaking about things that aren't ending?
Is it really Judgment Day if they're not splitting? But overall, I thought this was a fine episode of Raw. Not the super brilliant go-home episode I would have liked, but still 77%.
I really enjoyed this episode. I came in and said to you when I was like, man, I really enjoyed that episode of Raw because it had such a great main event. And, well, our Elimination Chamber predictions will be going live tomorrow. And I said on that show that my excitement levels were like here. They were pretty high because the men's chamber's so stacked. Now they are like way up high here, and it is because of all of the sort of like rock chaos that he's brought to the company. So that's particularly in the men's chamber match. The women's chamber match, like I didn't get what you got out of this match to build the chamber match. For me, this was more service because it's likely going to be Liv and Raquel versus Damage Control at WrestleMania, so you need to get the belts onto Liv and Raquel. It felt more like service to requirement than it felt like this is a big, well-built title defense, because considering that they literally lost 2 weeks ago against Damage Control.
We've done all of our Pledge Hammer shout-outs for this month, so let's get straight into the remaining chat gables. WrestleTalk.com/support. Read out everyone over $5. Matthew McFadden writes, even though Cena would be a great choice, I've got 3 words as to why Punk would be a fantastic choice for the corporate champion. Drew was right.
You're in little 3 count.
That is brilliant, Matthew. Ritan Rex writes, for all the grief you give WWE for not prioritizing women's wrestling on a night where women main evented and had among the best matches of the year so far, why is Punk on the thumbnail?
An excellent question. I was going to lead with the women's title change, but I tried to go with what the conversation currently is. You go online, you check Reddit, and you check like that. But also, I go onto WWE's YouTube channel and see like what are the best performing videos they've got from their clip now. And it was the CM Punk stuff was like and I was surprised at that because usually Judgment Day stuff is like the most watched stuff. Like we used to get criticized a lot for always leading with Judgment Day titles, even though there was nothing to say about it. I was like, it's clearly what people want to talk about. But yeah, on this one, it was the Punk stuff's the thing that people were most interested in from this show. So that's why we led with that. Also, for me, I thought it was the most interesting talking point coming out of this show. While I did very much enjoy this main event, I don't think it is the most exciting thing on this show.
We often don't go with the main events as the leads. We go with the most interesting conversation topic. Yeah. Geek of Arabia writes, new hot take. The winner of the Elimination Chamber is not Cena, not CM Punk. Instead, it's Logan Paul. Goes to Mania and to become The Rock's new corporate champion after Cody rejects him. Still betting on Cena, but I'm hedging said bet.
Ugh, I don't like it, man.
We reacted to that earlier. There's been an error with Streamlabs, so we haven't got this person's name. Please tell the moderators. They'll tell us, and hopefully we can still give you your shout-out. But they write, Liv's character was booked awfully when she had the title. However, I'm so glad she's had 3 of the best women's matches of the year so far, showing how good she really is. The EC qualifier with EO, Damage Control tag, and now this. I hope she gets more respect.
I was going to say, it's always been the booking that works against Liv as opposed to Liv herself. I think we've made that point quite a lot on this show. Remember that first title run she had against Ronda Rousey, which was really bad? And then her most recent one was dreadful because she was just holding the belt until Rhea won it back. And her whole reign just had that stench about it. But they were really putting her over on commentary at the end of this, saying that she, in the last year, was Women's World Champion. She's now a Tag Team Champion. She was the Crown Jewel Champion.
Oh, yeah.
And Michael Cole even said the line, imagine if she wins the Elimination Chamber. What a stellar year she would have had.
I forgot about the belt, the Crown Jewel belt.
It wasn't a belt. It was a ring.
It was a ring. Johnny All In writes, I suppose The Rock wanted Cody's soul as a way to shoehorn The Undertaker into Mania this year, so there is some sort of resemblance of a storyline making sense, unlike Mania last year in the main event.
I feel like that's a reach.
Kazoo, a tale of 2 brands going on with Raw and SmackDown at the moment. It's amazing how much of an afterthought the latter feels by comparison. Great Raw last night, tons of progression and good matches to boot. That main event over-delivered in the best way possible.
It's not that amazing, Kusa, when you think that one of them is on Netflix and the other one isn't.
Bald with a capital Ald, so Bald, writes, the benefit of 2 world titles is more opportunities for the lower main card, upper mid card. The downside is that you split the roster. Cody has the best rogues gallery I've seen in a while, but they are mostly on Raw. Who has the best ops, in your opinion?
So opponents, in your opinion, I guess.
I thought it was a Samoa Joe hook thing.
It's a funny way to phrase that as well. So the benefit of 2 world titles is it's more opportunities for the lower mid card, because that basically just means like, well, it's just a belt for the lower mid card then.
Yeah, which is what it is. I love Cody having a rogues gallery. I've never thought of it like that, but he really does.
Because he's a comic book guy as well.
Cody's got the best rogues gallery.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
best opponents.
Well, Gunther has Jay. And
Damien that one time. Zakari Jenkins writes, hey guys, we can talk about the real star in the building, T&A legend Pac-Man Jones. I started laughing when I saw him on screen.
Oh man, I knew that both you and I were going to make the exact same note, which is former TNA Tag Team Champion Adam Pac-Man Jones at ringside.
Rafael Garcia, you know what? I'm going to be positive. We might get Bron versus Finn. I hope Keith Lee is okay. We're channeling the Wiggles and Hot Potato in again. I miss the Iconics. Bianca can go do singles again. Please get Dom out of the women's division. Okay, Raw, break up.
I get the feeling, because once Bianca lost the belts, and I think I said this on the show previously, but I was like, if they lose the belts before Elimination Chamber, it made me think that Bianca's going to win the Chamber to go on to face Rhea. And I think that is a really good direction to go in. Which means, like, while it was, I'm saying that it's service to requirement, it's good service to do.
We've got quite a lot of chat, so I'll pick up the pace a bit. Ariana Grande, what? Right. Judgment tease a new member, and it's going to be David Finlay, considering his contract coming soon to an end. He will slap Finn to his senses since they both have history. Let's go, Ollie and Luke. It's effing Finlay. Yes. I don't see that happen. I think Finlay will re-sign with New Japan. Ollie David, #1 fan. Ollie David. What a guy.
I like that guy.
Fascinating how no one has pitched Roman as the Rock's champ. It's unlikely, but still an avenue they could explore. I still think he faces Seth at Mania and sets it up by beating him down and taking his chamber spot a la Edge 2009, but is pinned by Punk.
And the reason why no one's pitched Roman is because he's just turned babyface.
Yeah, but that's way too soon to turn him back heel. Team Ghost Rider, Inc., says, hey guys, I know you talked about it, but that Rock segment might have its ups and downs, but maybe this is all building to a Simon Miller debut. Lol, jokes aside, maybe the one who would take the favour is Drew. He is someone that no one is expected to see. Drew's a cool idea.
I like Drew a lot.
The former chosen one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like someone who is, the report is that he doesn't love the idea of this Damian Priest match. So, maybe that's a much better direction for him.
Real Double J. Chad may have gone to find out the secret of luchadors, but I think I've figured out the secret of Penta. He was that kid who used to spam taunts on WWF No Mercy until he got his special up. Dunne just needs to knock out the ref and grab a stop sign to win. Very good. Jim Survivors. Hey boys, apologies if this has been said already. I'm about 15 minutes behind. Punk aligns with Rock, which ties back to Punk's return promo, here to make money, not friends.
That's the point that you made.
Believe. Yes, it's what I said. Yeah. The SmackDown hacker, there he is. This morning, whilst I was walking my dog, a thought occurred to me. JD's new member might be a female, whomever attacked Jade. I think that's revealed in the chamber. I think someone is getting attacked, replaced in the Elimination Chamber with either Jade or the attacker.
I think it's all just a big red herring. Whoever attacked Jade is Bianca Belair.
I'll hot tag to you.
Connor McDonough here says, unrelated to Raw, I have a pitch for Drew McIntyre at Mania. He enters the meat match against Priest, Strowman, Sikoa, Fatu, and anyone else who fits the meaty build. Big E is the special guest referee, and the winner gets a Slim Jim. I don't hate it. Joe here said, my WrestleMania prediction is Jericho becomes Rock's corporate champion and wins the title, starts the corporate learning tree, starting a belt collector run where he holds every title before retiring, including the tag titles by himself. Thoughts?
I think Tempest might explode if that happened. Obviously, that's a jokey pitch and a very funny one.
Benny here said, hey lads, first Ultra Chat here. I started watching wrestling 2 years ago and I've fallen in love with it. I soon found after your Raw reviews and having watched wrestling ever since. I'm a Patreon sub and I love your TNA pay-per-view reviews. Shout out to Pac-Man Jones. I've now begun at a wrestling school and it's everything I hoped it would be. I just wanted to thank you lads for everything. Also, it's funny that the edited version of Rock's promo without the rambling and mention of them being friends is 100% better.
Look at our mums. Look at our mums. Oh, that's fantastic. I'm so...
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that you've gone to a wrestling school and it's living up to expectations.
Yeah, best of luck.
Great.
Yeah, let us know how it gets on. John the Dwayne Roxon here said, long-time listener, first time in 4 years watching live. I don't like the term chat, Gable, so here's my chat flicks to support you all. Keep up the good work. Love from the Netherlands.
Thank you, John the Dwayne Roxon. That's a great username.
Akihiko Sanada has donated. Thank you very much. And Zachary Jenkins here said, so I was listening to the WrestleMania 28 review and was wondering, Ollie, can we get a Ketamine Dan for a podcast? He seems like a funny guy.
Read the name as written.
Kettleman.
Kettleman Dan. That'll be his PG NXT name. He's got a lot of energy. I will pass that on to him, though. I think he'll be very happy that you said that.
Real Double J here's no spoilers. Fantastic to both of you on a fantastic season of Mustache Night War. Did the sexiest mustache win? You'll have to join Patreon and support the lads at the $6.50 level a month to find out. Also, kudos to Ollie for replicating Pete's jump kick in the intro. Braver than me. And me.
Yeah, the Monday Night War, Mustache Night War, is now in the books. All 12 episodes are up in its completion to watch now. And we will be back with the new series, but with 2K25 in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, starting on March 14th is the new series of the Monday Night War, where we're going to be playing 2K25. I'm very, very excited to get into this new game. Ryan here said, sending this chat to query something with you both and the WrestleTalk audience. For some reason, I never get to watch the content that happens during ads. I live in the UK, but the show just skips between the ads. Does anyone else have this issue?
Yes, so this is my experience of watching Netflix Raw.
Yeah? What do you mean?
Yeah, well, the first couple of weeks, I'd have the long parts of the matches in the ad breaks. Mm-hmm. But now it's like they cut everything out that happens in the ad breaks.
I get the whole kit and caboodle, and I just, down at the bottom it says, previously streamed on date. And then when it goes to an ad break, it comes up saying, Raw will resume shortly. And now they've added a countdown timer in the corner, letting you know when the ad break is over. Huh. And I'm on the lowest level of Netflix because I'm cheap.
Oh, maybe I'm on the big bucks, so maybe they just cut that part out for me.
Oh, right. So I'm getting the full thing because I'm not paying for it. Whereas because you're paying for it, you get the cut down version. Seems fair to me. Mm-hmm. Ten Ruzzer here said, Luke, I'm finally back and able to talk Grand Slam. Actually, it was a fun weekend and the crowd was great. Went to 3 shows, caught up with Robbie Eagles, which was fun, but the heat/humidity was insane. Had a Guinness for you, Ollie. Needs to be in Melbourne 2026.
Oh, great. Well, I look like a phenomenal show. The crowd were brilliant as well.
Also, hope to see you guys in London for Forbidden Door. Will be great to see you. Grand Slam needs to be here in Melbourne because of the Australian Open tennis.
Oh, yeah. Yes, absolutely. We'll do that for Forbidden Door in August.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And Paul here said, I agree with Luke's idea. Thank you. Punk wins the chamber. Roman takes out Rollins within the match. Cena inserts himself but refuses to side with The Rock. Punk wins the title by siding with Rock, fulfilling that he isn't back to make friends and he's back to make money.
Like it a lot.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us here today. Let's end the poll and find out the overall ratings.
I thought this would actually be higher. 64% thumbs up, 30% thumbs in the middle. Okay. I thought off the strength of that main event, that would be a higher result.
Yeah. Well, please go over to the main WrestleTalk channel now and watch our big review of WrestleMania 28 to enjoy more Rock, Punk, Cena fun. But for now, I've been Ollie Davis. It's been Luke Owen, DAD, your Jam That Champion. Jam that jam.
Jam that jam, everyone.